I finally got the second half of my modern bulk submission back from CGC. It's been sitting in the mail for like 2 weeks. There are 25 comic books in here. I don't think a whole lot of them got graded. So we're going to see what books got graded, what didn't, what I spent, was it worth it? All up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. So let's go through it. At Terrificon, which was on August 9th, I dropped off a 50-book modern bulk submission, 9.8 pre-screen. I got back the first batch. So they have to split them into two groups of 25 to grade them because they're not going to ship more than 25 books back in a box. Regardless of how many of them are graded or not. So the first batch of 25 was shipped out on September 11th. It took about, less than 5 weeks to get graded and shipped out. And then it was here on the 16th. So 6 weeks door to door. A little less than that. This shipment was shipped out on the 10th, the day before, and I got it on September 20th, 2 weeks later. I was looking at the tracking, and it was stuck in Florida, arriving late for like 10 days. And I started to get worried. Although, to be honest, the insured value on the box, if the box had been lost because it seems I didn't get many 9/8s, might be worth more than the actual value of the books in aggregate. So, a lot of people are like, it's not worth it. You get this many rejections. And so the question is it worth it? So, kind of do the math with it, right? So, I figured these 25 books that came back, if I sold them raw, I would their total value would probably be about $495. I spent $294 in the CGC fees, the grading, the $5 per book for rejection fee, and the shipping back. Since I dropped it off at Terrificon, I did save a decent amount of money in that there was no shipping to CGC. So what we'll do is then we'll take a look at the books that got graded, look at their fair market value, and compare that to the $495 plus the $294, which would be $789 that I basically have spent, and see what I get out of it. It's going to be a small return, but I still think we will be on the plus side here. And that's kind of the thing. The book's worth like $10 raw, and it's worth $100 or more in a 9/8. Some of them are worth a little bit less than $100 in 9/8. It depends on the demand for the book. So this is a smaller box. This is actually a smaller box than the last one I got back. And the credit card fee, the fee they charged my credit card is smaller. So I know it's more disappointing. It's a very small box for 25 books, and it's kind of bulging. I imagine we have these little bubble wrapping thingies in there. And I'm actually wondering if the USPS kind of package this at some point, because there's an awful lot of paper tape on this. And I'm having a hard time opening, which I usually get it open right away, right? And it's also because it's bulgy. I don't think that helps. So, this is like, so I'm going to have to check these books for damage and reach out to CGC. I don't think it was, I think we're okay. So anyway, again, to get a book graded, and I'm able to use a dealer discount. It's $18 to get it graded, and it's $5 for every book that's not graded. And so that's a big difference. If it's not a bulk submission, it's $9 for every book that's not graded. And I don't know if CGC kind of plays games with that sort of thing, but let's just break into it. So I think it's just one big bubble that has a handful of books. I'm afraid of how few books are in here. And the raw books. Now, I thought that the books that I submitted, and again, I had separated it so the books that I thought were in not as great a shape maybe, that had a couple of flaws. That sometimes will get a 9/8, but not always. We're in there. But let's just see what we got back. So let's count the 9/8s. And we got back, oh, okay, Daredevil 257. With Punisher, Daredevil and Punisher, and that's something that is increasingly popular. 9/8 white pages. This is Ann Nocenti did the story. John Romita Jr. did the art. This is Ann Nocenti, kind of took over from Frank Miller, an underrated run on Daredevil. So that is 257. So that came back a 9.8. That's one book. Yeah, I think they really... Does that lay flat? It's not laying completely flat. And I wonder if that part of that is the shipping. I know that, like, Automatic Comics had done a video on that lately. Like, the books that were bought. We'll see when they start to stack them up. The way that they shoved them in. Yeah. It could be my coffee table, too. It isn't completely flat. Full disclosure. Okay, what do we got next? We have Magic #1. Alrighty. This is the 4-issue miniseries with Elanya Rasputin as Magic. She's become quite the popular character. Claremont did the story. John Buscema and Tom Palmer did the artwork. So again, we'll list the fair market value down here. I'll put that in post-production. And then we'll talk about the FMV of these books afterwards. So do they stack? How do they stack up? Yeah, they're fine. They're not all spinning around. Okay. So, Magic #1. Next book. Oh, by the way, both of those, almost all of these books, I would, all but 2 of these books came from a huge collection I got in June of 2024. If you look back at some of those videos, the Spider-Man Platinum came out of that. 2 ASM 300s. I got 9.6 and 9.8 out of that. I got 9.8s on New Mutants 98. And what was the other one? Hulk 340. Multiple 9.8s on Dark Knight Returns. And then the next one is Uncanny. Oh, that's a nice one. Uncanny X-Men 212. That is cool. I know this collection had a few copies of this. This is a nice book in a 9.8 because of that black. Right? And I'm looking here. I have already 3 books that I had as clean. That it doesn't appear got 9.8s. So we will have to dig in. I'll probably be resubmitting. You know, some of it's the luck of the draw on who the grader is. So that's 3 9.8s. I'm afraid I got 8 out of 25 or something. Alrighty. Next book. There were a lot of Uncanny X-Men in this submission, and it is Uncanny X-Men 256. This I had clean. I had really clean on this one. This one was really, in my mind, a no-brainer. First new Psylocke. So, that's a cool book. Uncanny X-Men 256. 9.8 white pager. What's next? There. That's 4. I think there's 4 more from what I could feel. Maybe 5, but I think it's 4. I'm not going to be overly optimistic on this. Our next book is... If you're going to have one from this submission, this is one to have. Uncanny X-Men 266, the first chronological in-story appearance, first full appearance of Gambit, whatever you want to call it. You know, there is the annual 14, which came out before, but in terms of storytelling, this was supposed to come out first. This is the money book. It's got him on the cover. The other one has a great Art Adams cover, but doesn't have Gambit on it. And, you know, this is probably, after Byrne left the series, this is the most valuable X-Men book, right? I'm pretty sure that's the case. So I have a pretty good... these X-Men are going to stay in the PC unless they are doubles. I know I have a 9.2 of Gambit, so that'll be for sale. And I think I might have already have a 9.8 of 212. So I have to look at my inventory and see what's in the old collection. Okay, next book is Uncanny. Oh, that's a nice one. 274, this classic Jim Lee cover. This kind of popped. This is a cool book. With the X-Men 97 TV series, when there was something going on between Rogue and Magneto. It's a classic Jim Lee cover. And, you know, some good girl Rogue art there. So, yeah, this is that's a cool one. That's going to be in the PC. But I do want to, like, just compare the values. And I think, oh, two more. That's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's 8. This might be an annual. This does feel a little thicker. I could be wrong. Does just feel a little heavier. Let's see. Yes, it's annual number 12. Yeah, just Art Adams cover. That is pretty cool. And then I think one more book. And now we're getting into the ones that I thought were like questionable 9/8. And I think this is the last one. Not a great submission. And what did we get back in? It is Amazing Spider-Man 290. Really? Yeah. There was a tiny tear on this book. Anyway, this is the proposal issue. Al Milgrom cover. Peter Parker asks the big question. Okay, so I think that's it. I think that is all. So, double check. Yep. So now, let's just put this. Maybe a couple days I'll have a chance to clean up. Let's look at the rule books inside. The problem is when there are this many rule books is sometimes they just shove them in there and like they don't really take a whole lot of care with them and they kind of get damaged, which so this is the rest of the books. I'm going to go through them real quick. I do, well, this one, let's see. Daredevil 270, First Blackheart. And that is clean. Marvel Dazzler 33, Sienkiewicz cover. Magic number 4. Marvel Team Up 100, First Karma. Classic cover, X-Men 234. 241. There's a lot of Uncanny X-Men. 258. 350. I think there was something. That's probably just, you know, a couple of copies of Annual 10 with the X-Babies. Daredevil 230. Born Again storyline. Superman 75 second print. This one I'm disappointed in. I would have loved to have this in the 9/8. Again, I'll take a look. I see maybe a little tick up top. So I want to take a look at my notes on this one because I'm seeing a tick up top, right? Do I have that in my personal notes? Yes. Okay. So this one, could it pass muster with someone else? There's this tiniest, that's like the flaw there in the Marvel box. 277. Some of these probably aren't. X-Men Adventures 1. That was a little bit questionable, as was Contest of Champions 1 and ROM 31 Second Rogue. So I just want to, for comparison's sake, look at one of the books that I thought was pretty clean. So let's say like X-Men 234 or 240. Those I both had as really clean. Okay. Now 234. That's a good book. Okay. Classic Mark Silvestri cover. Back cover looks great. Front cover, maybe. Yeah. Maybe some reversion on the spine. It does have... Oh, there's a little indent by the X. And there's another little indent. So I've actually changed, and I don't know what the results will be. I've changed one of the things I do with pressing. Is I do, I'm t-shirt press with aluminum plates. So I bought like a whole bunch more aluminum plates. So rather than reusing the aluminum plates like every day, or maybe even ideally a few times a day, I have like 12 sets of aluminum plates. So I just take the whole sandwich with the plate out, stack those and put a dumbbell on top. I have like 2 stacks, right? So the earlier stack, I finish that. I'll then take those books out and see about submitting them. So we'll see if that helps with some of the reversion potentially. I'm just going to work on again. I think it has a good shot. So I did get back a couple of the more valuable books in the submission. Probably the 2 most valuable. And obviously the X-Men 266, but also the 212. So we're going to take a look at fair market value for the 8 books I got back. The way I look at fair market value is over the last 30 days. If we have at least 5 sales, I'll look at the median. Otherwise, we'll go back to 7 or 9 sales, something like that. And I use the median price, so that outliers high and low aren't included. Yes, I do teach statistics, at least for a couple more days. So I'll be back in just a moment, and we'll talk about the numbers. Okay, so you saw the fair market values of the graded books. The 8 graded books, their fair market value totals $1,255. When you include the values of the books that remained raw, and their value hasn't changed as a raw book, it's $1,500 even. So we went from $495 to $1,500 with the $294 in grading fees. So altogether, it's $789 to $1,500. So almost doubling of my money. And that is with a really bad submission, right? 8 out of 25, that's, 32%. 320 would be a really good batting average in baseball. It's not a great batting average in CGC 9.8 pre-screen. So I'm disappointed. And is it me? I've had success in the past. There is some variability to this. I'll take a closer look at all of the books, actually from the last couple of submissions, and see which ones, just shouldn't bother with, which ones, that was a stretch, which ones it's not really worth it in a 9.8. We'll just, move it raw. And the fact of the matter is the X-Men books, so there's at least, 5 of the 8 or 4 of the 8 that I'm just going to keep. It does free up a 266 and a 9.2, which is a decent amount of value. So, we'll just see. It's not as much as the 9.8, but, now improve the value of the collection. So is it worth it? That's the question. I think it is. Could I be... Couple things. Could I be more discriminating on the books I submit? Yes. Especially not because there are a couple of factors to that. There's the condition, and then there's the value. If the book's worth maybe $100 on a good day, might not be worth submitting. If it's one I want to keep, or a book that I think has potential for the future, maybe. And again, it's part of everyone's different collecting journey. I will, I take all of that into account. Is this a book I want in a 9.8? So yeah, then maybe it's worth it. What the heck just happened? What? There we go. My computer is acting weird for a second. So at any rate, that is not a great submission. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. I know the comments are probably going to be a little bit harsh, but I did get it first gambit. You can take a look at a couple of my other videos here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.